Righteousness is all that I can write to this. The blood that Christ sacrificed is guiding my writing pen. He died for me, so it's only right I live my life for him. I'm gonna get in right for the Lord until the very end. Yeah, so let's begin. They say to God be the glory, but Facebook's killing that. Reality TV's another story, ain't getting into that. Footballing took Sundays from his holy house, made us forget about what loving God's about. Sex is their weapon, drugs are breakfast, that's the way they living. Plus what's done in dark will come to light. Who's watching your children? There's some demons watching, plotting, stalking, and they listening. Plotting, stalking, trying to figure where they gon' catch us slipping. We never slipping, Jesus warned us. We ready in the field. Say my bread's bread, fish and wine, Lord prepare my meal. This message for you devils, I care less about how you feel. As about
I want us to really get into and understand that music actually has a spiritual effect on people.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and that the spiritual effects of music is something that we need to pay attention to, because you know why? We just automatically do things, and it's based off of music, but we don't give it the I guess the credit or the credit that it deserves. I'm gonna run a couple of things past you, and I want you to tell me is music included in these things as a part of your life? When you meditate, for those of y'all that meditate, music. When you desire to relax, music. When you feel happy when something good happened, oh, where my song? Music. When you go to work out and get that, I don't care if it's Zumba, I don't care if you're pumping that iron, I don't care what you're doing. Music. Parties, cookouts, whatever.
Cleaning your house.
Music. Cleaning your house. Music. When it's that sensual time. Music. When you're in the elevator, music. When you're at a restaurant, music. When you're driving your car, music. Why? Why do you think that music is such an integral, important part of your life? And why is it necessary on if not all, but most of the occasions that you experience? That's some of the things that we take for granted and we really don't pay attention to, the power that music has in our lives. And I'm gonna give you some of the facts behind that. Think about this. Doesn't music improve the party? Doesn't music make the club jump? Don't music get the church either on their feet, running up and down the aisles, weeping, crying, shouting out to the Lord? Music impacts you in ways that you don't even understand, in ways that you don't pay attention to. And you know what? It's not just sound. It's not just I beat on the desk. It's not just ha. It's not just that. It's a combination of sounds in particular orders that cause certain things to happen. And one of the things about music that's amazing is that in your mind, and now we're gonna talk real briefly, because I don't want to give science too much credence in this, but I have to touch base where it needs to be touched. Music releases something in your brain called dopamine. And for those of y'all that's not familiar with dopamine is the same nerve that gets released when you having sex, when you eating, when you take an addictive drug, something that gets you like, you know, up and acting crazy like cocaine. It's the dopamine that makes things so pleasurable. Music creates that. And that's why music is so amazing.
That's right.
Everything about music is energy. And music can send off actually many different kinds of energies. It reduces stress and anxiety, or it causes stress and anxiety. Think about this, a baby. What's the most familiar aspect that we have of a baby when a baby's falling asleep? Rocking the baby and doing what? Singing a little lullaby to the baby. That sound, that energy of the song that the music is creating, it goes into their mind, and it goes into which is passed down to their body, and it fills them with love, peace, and comfortability. They get relaxed when they're in that state. And that state is caused by music. So this is the same way that we feel when we listen to soothing music. And now I want to address that soothing music. What is soothing music to you? Is it an instrumental? Is it something just lightly playing in the background? You need that joint cranking so that you jump. I mean, you need to be talking about that dope and that dope boy mentality. I mean, what is soothing music to you? That's something that I want y'all to take the time and reflect on. What kind of music soothes you? And I know it does, and I don't care if you the most peaceful dove fluttering in the air, and I don't care if you the most go hard beast that's out here. Because even as a child, when I was a little kid watching cartoons, you know what they always said? Music soothes the savage beast. So they were teaching us about the spiritual and the powerful effect that music has on you, even as children. We were being indoctrinated by it. Be it good or bad, we were indoctrinated by that concept. And the thing is that we talked about so many other things. It's such a norm, when I say norm, I mean it's so normal and an everyday occurrence in our life that it's just, we don't give it a second thought. We don't pay attention to it. Not all of us. But I remember a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about music, and my brother, Righteous Rich, he made the comment that he can't listen to Jeezy anymore. Can you elaborate on that a little bit and say why you can't listen to Jeezy?
Yeah, it's just because of the way that my mind was when I was listening to it. Music has a way of because the way our minds process music. Well, as we know, music goes to the subconscious mind and it imprints different messages. Well, our minds are so complex. God created them in such a way that when dopamine is released in a certain way, it takes you back to the last time you had that particular experience. That's why when you listen to music, it transports you to that place in your life you were the last time you heard that song. So when I listen to Jeezy, when I hear that those particular songs, it gives me a feeling of wanting to do the things I used to do at the time. He's naming things. He's bringing up certain events and stuff that happened in his life that makes me reflect on those particular things. Like when he talk about residue all over the safe and all that type of stuff, it make me think, and it give me a feeling that I don't really particularly care for these days. And we look at just the way the music is now shaping the youth. These memories are being imprinted on these children's minds now. So when you got little girls who grew up listening to Cardi B, when they grow up, they may be in all different stages of their life, but they gonna think about when they hear shake a little, get a little cash, do it, give me some more. They gonna literally be transported back to that time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now their lives are gonna be shaped basically by the negative influences that they getting from today's music.
Agreed, man. And that's one of the things that we've talked about on several occasions, the induction of our youth with this poison, because that's what it is. It's poison. And the way that it's constant, you know, that it's nonstop. If you notice, or if you hold on to the things that I said earlier, there isn't a phase or a place in your life that music isn't incorporated in. The only way that you don't have music in your life is that if you personally shut it off, and then you're personally in a space or a place that you can control. Because any area, any place or space that's outside of your control that you happen to be going in, 9 times out of 10, music and unhealthy music is involved. Talk to me, bro.
No, I definitely feel that. You know, everything that pop in my brain with it is balance, right?
Right.
Back in the day, I was different. You know what I'm saying? I was manipulated by music. Now I use music for manipulation.
Agreed.
So if I go to the gym, you know, I might throw some Mobb Deep on, depending on how I want to push the weight up. And I use the spirit that's actually inside of that mindset that's actually inside of that music to push it. It might not be that. It might just be, if I get on a treadmill, it might be a song that I wouldn't normally listen to, but it just pumped me up.
Right.
But I use it to manipulate things because I know the waves in music and inspires emotion.
Right.
So being focusing on balance and trying not to be a drifter. And a drifter is one that's controlled by their environment. So everything manipulates them.
Right.
Like a pen, you can write "I love you" or you can write "I hate you." It could be used either way.
Right.
So can music.
True.
Music can motivate you to do something good. It can motivate you to do something bad. But a drifter is literally motivated by everything. But a person is searching and on a struggle for balance, on a struggle to find their God. They choose to use the same resources for good. So if they know that the dynamics of this situation can cause you to do this or that, they use it for that. Now, what you were speaking about, Rich, is called an engram. So what happens is in an engram, if you was to walk past your bed, and like we used to do back in the day, we would hit our shins on the arm, right?
Right.
Do you know that psychologically, right? If water was running at that time, if your daughter was in the bathroom running water, when you hear running water, your leg will start hurting. And when you get close to the edge of that bed from now on, I don't care how many years pass, it will ache your leg. You ain't never touch it. But that's the engram that's in your brain trying to react to the trauma that you actually had years ago, trying to stop you once again from actually hitting your leg. So you're protecting yourself, saying that, hey, this sends me back to a dark place and I don't want to go there. But that means you're not a drifter because you're in total control of what's going on. You know what it does, and you choose, not to take that path.
Right. And now I even look at it now the way I was taught when I went to certain churches, or I don't even know if I can call this place a church. It was a place called The Gate, and I learned how to actually, what we would call soaking, whereas though you listen to worship music, a lot of times in black churches we have gospel music, and I think it's a big difference between gospel music and worship music.
Agreed.
A lot of gospel music is not scripturally accurate. It doesn't particularly give you the best message. It'll say something. They throw God in there a couple of times and it sounds awesome, but it's not actually helping you connect or to get into a worship mindset. So when you listen to music that's worship music, where they actually talking about the goodness of God, or they focusing your mind on who God is and what he is and identity and all these different things, then you're able to actually connect on a whole different level, and that actually sharpens your senses to be able to process the Holy Spirit, to be able to actually not just talk to God, but actually be able to hear him when you open up and you actually, that's why praise and worship is so necessary for me. I can't speak for everybody, and I noticed that when I do praise and worship before I get a message, sometimes the praise and worship is so good. Like, I mean, I'm already connected and filled. I've already got what I came for, and nobody said a word outside of the singing and the worshiping that was going on. And then I think about times when I was in other environments where the music sounded amazing, but I still left empty. Right. Because I wasn't in worship. I was actually in entertainment mode. I was being entertained. I wasn't actually worshiping.
No, I want to address two things. One thing that you mentioned and one thing that you mentioned that actually they actually tie and correlate with one another. Where you talked about spirits and then you talked about worship. And I believe that no matter what kind of music we're listening to, I don't care if it's what I would choose to listen to, which is the gospel praise and worship. I don't care if it's what would be considered secular. I don't care what it is. All of that music is spirit filled.
That's right. And
they each in their own they each in their own right teach you to worship something or someone. Because just like you said, Rich, when you talked about the residue being on a safe. I talked about on several occasions the Katy Perry song, I Kissed a Girl When I Like It. Growing up and now being an adult, back in the day, the old folks used to call it baby making music.
Right.
And love songs and stuff like that. But actually they weren't paying attention that was the spirit of lust that was overtaking them. Sure, you may love this person, but love ain't what you're interested in right now. When this music comes on, it sets the tone for the other half of that. You know? So, and it's no different with say like the songs when NWA came out.
Yeah,
you know?
the gangster rap.
Exactly. No different. It's no different with this. And they call it what, mumble rap or whatever.
It's the rap that's happening now where it's the most destructive, which is actually the kid, the baby of gangster rap is drill music, where they actually talk about murders and they disrespect the dead, and the spirits that are on that are very aggressive, and because they actually get killed behind the stuff. Like the people that make the music die from it.
It was all purpose. It's all purposely done. I don't know if y'all seen the other day, but this guy, I don't know, is this popular guy on internet. He called Brother Ben X, and he was showing what happened to this rapper. This rapper literally said, he put out a sign, "Hey, y'all know where I'm at. I'm home. I'm blah blah blah."
Yeah, the young boy.
It wasn't even an hour. He was gone away from here.
Right.
It's like the music that we're listening to now. It's like it was all by design, because I was a part of it. I was a part of that situation. I was a part of the situation where the people was coming with money saying, "Hey, this is where you gotta, if you wanna move this way, if you don't move this way, So we was at a point where we realized, just like we know now, we gotta create something for ourselves.
Yeah.
But if we don't create something for ourselves, we can't blame nobody. But talking about the music that you just mentioned, right? And you kept mentioning that song. Every time you mentioned that song, I wanted to put my head down, you know what I'm saying? And because when I heard I Kissed a Girl and I Liked It, and I'm not even gonna lie to you, and I seen these pretty girls running up to each other and kissing each other, I lost my everlasting mind, right? I was cuckoo for cocoa nuts, right? Because I was like, yo, this looks, you know what I'm saying? This is like two gorgeous females, blah, 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 blah. But then I was like, yo, this ain't really cool for my daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Preach.
And then, but it's just the fact of how quick you can lose a grip to how powerful this stuff is, and because we're not identifying it for what it is, like say we say spirit, right, or say demon, right? But if I were to get very clear and I was to say, listen, it's mindsets in everything you listen to.
No doubt.
It's a mindset, literally a program, as somebody would call a program, to sit into your brain. It's a mindset. So whether you believe in God, whether you believe, you understand, it's a mindset.
True.
In all of these songs. So these songs give you a certain type of feeling. When I said I went crazy, it touched my nature, and I had to grab myself and say, wait a minute, this ain't cool.
Right. And the way we describe it in, the Christian faith is that it creates a stronghold, So when you allow these things access to your soul, because we are three-part beings, we spirit, soul, and body. Well, the enemy, his place is in the soulish realm. That's where we think, we process our behavior. All that stuff is in our soulish realm. And we already know Lucifer was the ministry of music. Now he's Satan. He still has the same function.
Right.
So he is actually pushing a lot of this music that we're getting. And now once you start to allow this music access to your subconscious mind, that's the part you're not guarding. That's the part you can guard, actually, to some degree. I mean, you can by abstaining or keeping things out of there. But when you invite this stuff in, now it is now shaping your worldview, the way you see things and process stuff. And the more you spend time in it, the more you spend time doing it, now you are actually allowing and helping shape your personality. And if you're doing it in such a way where as though the stuff you're listening to is destructive or satanic, well, now you only just helping yourself create these strongholds, these, as you would say, mindsets, but they're a little bit more severe because you are now allowing these things access to your control. you're giving up control and putting these things in a place where they can manipulate you in such a way that you start to relinquish control over these particular areas.
Especially if you already manipulated by drugs.
And you use that synergetic effect, bow, voila.
Exactly. Remember, we talked about that. We talked about this was about a month ago when you and I spoke about this, where early on people were like, well, these shows got these kids, or these video games got these kids, or this music got these kids, and nobody wanted to believe anything. And that was what you just said is exactly what I said. Okay, so maybe as a individual effect, this one thing won't do it, but take this music, right, and then couple it with some drugs.
That's right.
Take the drugs and the music, couple that with some liquor.
And circumstances.
Exactly. That was the next thing. Circumstances and environment.
And a mind that is not balanced. So what will affect, like me, I can listen to mostly any music now, even something like that, which I wouldn't, because I already know what it's going to do. You know, I'm talking about that song.
I know, yeah.
But I wouldn't. Different people are affected different ways, like, and then certain music make you feel certain ways, like, if you was to listen to it, it actually is a downer. Yep. Certain music is an upper. You know, certain music will make you feel like you the martial artist of the world, right. Superman, whatever. Because of the fact is, it's not the music is waves, and your brain functions off of waves and frequencies and stuff like that. It's just the fact that these cats, these children, we gotta understand, like, when we was coming up, yeah, it was drugs, it was alcohol, but look, these cats on everything, like, they on Robitussin, they on, I mean, if they on stuff that we would be like they right. on everything. And then some of the rappers, like, say Future, I listen to Future album, right? And when I listened to Future album, I used to work out to it and feel like, then I said, in the middle of my workout, I said, are you on everything?
Well, the sad part, he not.
Yeah.
He not.
That makes it even worse. I don't mean that makes it even worse.
Nah, I'm with you on that. It make it worse. Like, I wanted to shoot him in his face when I heard him sing that song, Molly Percocet. You know, that song, Molly Percocet, I know how destructive that those opiates are. Yeah. Like, those opiates, it's no accident that they've been just passed out throughout the hood, and now they've been more and more potent to the point where as though you could just touch some of that stuff and you would die if you don't have a tolerance for it. And then you got people that's giving you the gateway. They used to talk about marijuana being a gateway. Well, Percocet and syrup, and that syrup they drink that right. not codeine. What is it called? Promethazine.
Promethazine.
They drinking promethazine, and they drinking and they taking these pills. Now they don't realize that they're actually developing a tolerance to which, when they don't have this stuff, they're now sick. And when you can't get a hold of the syrup, and you can't get a hold of the Percocet, which is expensive and harder to get, what do you turn to? You sick. You gonna go get you a bag of dope. Now you got a dope habit. So you got these young kids out here on dope. But I want to also digress to a degree about when you look at these strongholds. Well, when you playing this music and you are now putting all these destructive and satanic messages out upon the airwaves, and you putting them out in these TV shows and these cartoons, now you have a young, impressionable mind that's being formed, and now you're shaping this mind that's not even fully developed yet by these destructive things that are creating these destructive behavior that are now making someone's life as an adult much harder. And now they got a bunch of different strongholds and things that they got to break off, because now they have been filled with a bunch of negative satanic messaging and instruction and indoctrination without even being consulted. They didn't even know that this was happening. I ain't know that when somebody asked me what superhero I wanted to be when I grew up, and I told them I wanted to be Ice Cube when I was 8. That's who I wanted to be. I thought I was Ice Cube. Do you know how destructive that is? And that's been to my relationships with females and stuff like that. Right. That made me very destructive, misogynistic. I was a total a-hole to most of the females that I dealt with in the romantic fashion, because I ain't the one. That was the first song that helped me shape the way I saw women. So, you know what I mean? So now I'm looking at these kids and I'm listening to this stuff, and the music is getting worse and worse. Yes. You got these young kids aspiring to be drill rappers. Well, one of the things that made my rap career slow down was the fact that I was already selling drugs, and then I started rapping about selling drugs. And then now I feel like that my life already reflect what I'm doing. So I got to turn it up, because if I want my raps to be better, my life got to be better, because I only rapped about what I did. I wasn't no embellisher. I wasn't the person that lied. Anything I did, I said in my music, I did it. So now I'm losing my focus where I should have just been making music. I'm working on a big drug career because I want my rap career to be bigger. Do you know how sick and stupid that is? But I was in the days of ignorance. And I look at these kids now with this drill rap and how destructive and how the enemy and evil progresses. So now you got these kids rapping about drilling. Well, I know in my day, I was doing what I was saying. So now these kids are actually going to do what they say. So now we are creating not only the school to prison pipeline, we are now creating a school to prison pipeline and a school to murder pipeline, because these kids, they want to be rappers. They want to have their rap career be bigger, so they're going to start killing more people. And they young and impressionable. They don't realize how these things all correlate, how they all going together for your destruction.
I want to touch on what you said. I'm a slightly, not disagree, but embellish on what you said. I believe in some instances that they do understand, but what they understand is they weren't taught that this isn't cool. They're not taught that this is not the way to go. They're not taught that you shouldn't do this. They're taught that mindset. They're taught that this is the way to live. This is how you go about doing things. This is how you make things pop. This is how you make it happen.
And this is cool. I've been speaking to a couple of people about changing this, right? And this is what was brought to me, right? I was asleep. I was like, God, how are we going to change this? It's like, you got to make it cool. You have to make it uncool to kill your own, right? You have to make it uncool. He said they doing this because it's allowed. The same way it was allowed by the master for you to stop kicking conscious rhyme and convert from conscious rhyme to gangster rhyme. That was allowed. What was told to us was that nobody's going to buy that anymore. This is the only thing that's going to support it. So really, I hate to say this, it's not the people that's doing it for, it's our fault.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's like, it's us. Like, we could talk all day long about like dated, but truthfully, we gotta buy and support conscious stuff. We have to set up a system that we can buy. That's what I'm in the process of trying to do. Buy each other's stuff. We have to see, the children will switch up. If they see it's valuable over here, people don't get killed over here, you can make money over here, and it's still cool. As a matter of fact, we done brought in some type of culture where it don't even seem cool to kill. Oh man, I'm a what? I don't want to be called that name. If we create a culture around that, we'll slow it down.
Yeah, I understand that. The reason, but I want to elaborate on what I was saying. Right. The reason why I was saying they don't understand it, they understand it they know it. It's the difference between knowing and understanding something. Like crackheads know all day that crack is bad, but they don't understand it. If they understood it, they would not smoke crack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't understand the effects on their life, because until you've been in front of the judge and they tell you you're getting 107 years, you don't really understand.
True.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can tell you that stove hot all day, but when you put your hand on that stove and you got that blister going up your arm, now you understand.
Agreed.
You can't even put it all the way in the words how much your understanding is, because you have the experience. And that's the whole thing. Like when I was younger, I ain't know that doing what I was doing was wrong, because everybody else was doing it around me. And I was so young and impressionable, that was how my mind was shaped. But when I got to a certain place and the consequences happened, now it's too late. You know what I mean? In a lot of instances, it's too late. And that's what I was saying. They don't understand the gravity in which the things and the choices and decisions that they making now, because you making a decision because you want this rap career to work. So you going to go kill this boy and rap about it. You going to kill this boy and rap about it. But then when the DA say, okay, yeah, he said it, and he go on Exhibit A, he's holding the gun. This the gun he shot. And now they telling you life without parole. If you would have understood that in the beginning, you wouldn't have done it. And like these kids, like because of their minds being so impressionable and they've been not in the developed state, But I agree with you. They on the surface level know, but they don't really understand how this stuff is going to affect the rest of their life.
Yeah, and I agree with you wholeheartedly with everything that you said. And like I said, the only thing that I wanted to do was and we both had these similar experiences. I've talked to certain people who purposely instill these values and these ideas and this lifestyle into kids, so that, like you said, they're never giving the chance to know something else. This until it's too late.
Right,
like
until it's too late. Now you in the cell. Now you got 50 years. Like,
right.
You got to process it.
Exactly, and it's wild, but there's relief. I mean, there's relief out there for us, and there's relief coming. But the thing is, like we talked about, this relief is do you know you have to search? You have to look hard for the relief. You have to look hard for help.
Yeah.
The hindrance, the danger, the killing, the drugs, the sex, all of the craziness is right out there for you. Hands open, just grab it. Anywhere you go, boop, boop, you can get it anywhere you go. But the help that you need to curtail these things, the help that you need to stop these things, that you got to go and look for.
Yeah.
And that's one of the challenges that we're facing as we start to put this stuff together and try to counteract it. Well, let me correct that. We're not trying to counteract anything. We're going to counteract it, and we are counteracting it because we're getting this antidote to all of these people who have this poison running through their veins. But what? People have to look for it. People have to look hard to find it. And that's a major part of the problem that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I mean, but you just gotta, the physical and the spiritual, whatever's in the spiritual is gonna be physical. If you looking at the food that you eat, you gotta look hard to find healthy choices. It's a McDonald's. If you just look at that food court, I don't know what's down there, but I bet you it's probably one or two things that's healthy down there, and the rest of it is garbage.
And if you check out our neighborhoods, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But if you was to go to Towson, or if you was to go downtown, you could easily find a healthy choice, right? And when I question, because I have questioned people about it, and they said, well, black people really don't eat like that. They really know. You haven't given black people the choice, because there's plenty of black people that are conscious, that are becoming conscious about this stuff. If this was LA, y'all know this wouldn't be an issue, because they got to maintain a certain type of situation right here. But we talking about Baltimore, the place that everybody's supposed to, whatever, soulful it up, you know what I'm saying? Pray about it, you know what I'm saying? Die about it and wonder why you died. That nobody cares about you type of situation.
Right.
So until we care about ourselves, same thing with the music, till we care about ourselves, you want to change it. 'Cause I realized something. It's like the best way to change something is one brick at a time. So if Rich say, well, I like what Coyote doing. I said, well, I like what Rich doing. I like what John doing. Let's make each other wealthy. Okay. Let's make each other be able to blah, blah, blah. So somebody else see it and say, them brothers, they wealthy, they controlling media, they blah, blah, blah. Shoot, I don't gotta do this. You know what I'm saying? It seemed like that to me, from what I have seen, right? It does more than lip service. It does more than anything. No, we gotta get the message out.
Yeah.
We gotta fight against the situation. But I'm saying that our pure examples, like, say we get the message out and say we do get sprayed down. That's not the message that you want to get, because if you keep giving that message, anybody with a little bit of sense would be like, man, every time somebody try to, this is the reality of the situation. I would be a fool. But if somebody could see you be successful, at doing what you're supposed to actually do, that's a train. You know what I'm saying? I might want to follow. If I went into a block and it's a black block, right? But the whole block, that ain't no crime. It's a problem. The men all come out and help each other. They all clean off the snow. Nobody robs the block because everybody got a thing. I had people on my block because I run at night, right? So I run around the block, right? And and if a car go past, they be like, oh, you okay, brother? I said, oh, okay, I'm just doing my rounds. So they think that all the men in the block, I'm the only one in the block to do it, but just the thought that that's taking place can cut down crime and cut down your child being abducted and all that type of stuff. So I think if we changed it one brick at a time, we would be better shit. Even with the music, like.
Well, I was about to touch on that. The music is the first brick that we're planning on changing. Yeah. So, as musicians, we're going to come forth, and we personally have accepted the challenge of fighting the enemy. We know the enemy isn't going away. We know that the enemy is given permission right now to do what he has to do. But we also know for a fact that the enemy is limited, that the enemy is defeated, that the enemy is going to come across people like us who won't compromise, won't change, and won't be moved by your fear and by your threats. So we're out here. Yeah. And before we leave, we just want you to know that this is just part one to the music segment. Rich is actually going to come back as our guest next week. And we're going to talk about the second part of this. We gave you the danger. We gave you the problems in the music industry this week. Next week, we're going to give you the solution. Dude. So before we get out of here, it's just us. Before we get out of here, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. We want to thank everybody
thank you.
for hanging out with us today. And don't forget ever, what's up with that? Live, truth, not tradition. We'll see you next week.
Welcome to the new normal, it's not normal. These days, thinking for yourself, not normal. Media create a constant state of paranoia. Got the world locked down, now we acting like it's normal. Welcome to the new world order. Agenda 2030 got them locking down the border. Mass insurrection, DNA collection. Big tech companies bringing chaos out of order. Bill Gates, vaccinate the black race. SMA snatching your freedoms right in your face. Illegal immigration, N-words getting replaced. New iPhones got you contact trace with GPS tracking. We all from Chicago, just got caught lacking. Supreme Court uses cause they about to start packing. And Dominion vote machines got Hugo Chavez backing. Make the rules different for them, different for you. Like Debo say, do what I say, not what I do. Blocking out the sun and buying all the food. False flags and pandemics cause they about to starve you. CNN is fake news. ABC, CBS, NBC2, mainstream media, Mockingbird 2s. Guess who the joke's on? You.
Why is it I gotta dive? And if I comply, these men hands to the sky. Government stay telling lies. You really be starting these riots. I promise you, we getting tired. Promise you, these are the facts. Yeah, you know the facts. We about to start fighting back. It's your fault. This